What's up, coin hunters? Welcome to US Coins World, the channel where pocket change turns into treasure. Today, we're unlocking the secrets behind rare US coins that could be worth thousands, and you might already own one without even knowing it. From hidden mint marks to million-dollar mistakes, this video is packed with jaw-dropping finds. So grab your coins, and let's see what you've really got. Top 1. Today we're talking about the Delaware State Quarter from 1999, the very first coin released in the United States Mint's now legendary 50 state quarters program. On the surface, it might seem like just another common quarter. But under the right circumstances, this simple coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. And no, we're not talking about a few extra bucks. We're talking life-changing money. So grab your coin jar, sit back, and watch closely. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and just how much a single Delaware quarter could be worth, up to $84,000. Let's take a step back in time for a moment. The year is 1999. The new millennium is right around the corner. Y2K fears are buzzing, people are buying CDs from Tower Records, and the US Mint has just launched a program that will capture the imagination of coin collectors for years to come. The State Quarters program kicked off with a bang, and the very first coin in the series was issued in honor of Delaware, the first state to ratify the US Constitution back in 1787. Now, what makes this Delaware quarter so fascinating isn't just that it was first, it's that it set the tone for one of the most beloved coin series in American history. Millions of people started paying attention to their change for the first time, trying to collect all 50 states. And that frenzy created a massive demand, both for casual collectors and serious numismatists. But here's the twist. While hundreds of millions of these quarters were minted, not all were created equal. Some carry secrets, tiny, fascinating, rare errors that make them incredibly valuable. And those are the coins we're chasing today. Let's talk about what the Delaware quarter looks like. On the reverse side, you'll see a depiction of Caesar Rodney on horseback, commemorating his historic 70-mile ride through a thunderstorm to cast his vote for independence in 1776. It's an image filled with urgency, patriotism, and action. The words "Delaware, 1787," and "the first state" surround the design, while the front carries the familiar portrait of George Washington. So where does the big money come in? It all boils down to rarity and errors. The most valuable Delaware quarters are not your run-of-the-mill coins. They're the ones with minting errors, accidents at the mint that create one-of-a-kind or highly unusual coins. And for collectors, these are like winning the lottery. One such error is known as the spitting horse error. That's right. On certain Delaware quarters, if you look closely at Caesar Rodney's horse, you'll see what looks like a stream or line coming from its mouth. This line is actually a die crack, a small break in the coin's die that leaves an unintended mark on the coin itself. It's not supposed to be there, but that's exactly what makes it special. This error is fun, collectible, and can boost a coin's value significantly, especially if it's in high-grade condition. Other rare errors include double dies, where some of the lettering or images appear doubled, and off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. These kinds of errors make the coin visually distinctive, and therefore more desirable. There are also planchet errors, where the coin was struck on the wrong type of metal. For example, some quarters were accidentally struck on experimental planchets or on coins intended for foreign currency. These rarities can send values soaring, especially when authenticated by a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now here's where it gets really exciting. Collectors are obsessed with condition. A coin that's uncirculated, has full original luster, and zero scratches can be worth 10 times, or 100 times, more than the same coin in worn, circulated condition. Combine that with a rare mint error, and you're in the territory of serious money. One such Delaware quarter, featuring a spectacular mint error, preserved in pristine condition, was sold at a coin auction for a jaw-dropping $84,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you might find in a handful of change, under the couch cushion, or in grandma's coin jar could be worth more than a luxury car, or even a down payment on a house. Let that sink in. The truth is, most people wouldn't look twice at a 1999 Delaware quarter. But collectors? We know better. These are the modern treasures of American coinage. They represent a blend of history, artistry, and minting science. And when the right circumstances align, a rare error, exceptional preservation, and high demand, you're looking at a collector's dream. That if you're sitting there wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare quarters? Here's what you can do. Start by examining your coin under a magnifying glass. Look for any unusual lines, misaligned images, doubling, or odd coloration. Check Caesar Rodney's horse. Does it have the spitting line? Look at the lettering. Are any of the letters doubled or fuzzy? Is the coin perfectly centered? Does the edge look smooth and uniform? Next, check the condition. The fewer scratches, nicks, or discoloration, the better. If your coin looks almost brand new and you spot an error, you may want to get it professionally graded. A certified grade of MS-67 or higher can make a huge difference in value. Finally, check online marketplaces, coin auctions, and collector forums. See what similar coins are selling for. But remember, only the rarest, highest quality error coins are reaching the highest values. So what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate your pocket change. The 1999 Delaware quarter is more than just the first of the state quarter series. It's a coin that has opened the door to one of the most exciting treasure hunts in American numismatics. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned expert, this is a coin worth looking out for, and who knows, maybe you already have one of these rare beauties without even realizing it. Top 2. We're heading down south to the Sunshine State, Florida, to take a deep dive into one of the most interesting pieces of American coinage from the 50 State Quarters program, the Florida State Quarter from 2004. This isn't just any old quarter. Under the right circumstances, this small piece of change could be worth a jaw-dropping amount, so stick with me, and listen carefully. By the end of this video, you'll learn exactly what to look for in your change and coin jars. Because one specific version of the 2004 Florida quarter has sold for an absolutely mind-blowing price, $81,000. So let's begin the journey. First, let's set the scene. It's 2004. The United States Mint is deep into the incredibly popular 50 State Quarters program, which began in 1999. Every few months, a new quarter design is released to represent one of the 50 states. Florida's turn came up in March of 2004. Millions of these coins were minted and sent into circulation. You've probably held one at some point, maybe even today. But not all Florida quarters are created equal. Some of them, thanks to rare minting errors, unique anomalies, and flawless preservation, have become hidden treasures for coin collectors across the country. Now, let's talk about the design, because the Florida quarter is loaded with symbolism and historical meaning. On the back of the coin, you'll find a design that pays tribute to Florida's deep connection with exploration, space, and the sea. There's a Spanish galleon sailing across the ocean waves, representing early European explorers who arrived in the 16th century. Beside the ship is a small space shuttle, blasting off into the stars, an homage to Florida's key role in modern space exploration, thanks to NASA's Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral. To top it all off, two sabal palm trees stand proudly in the background, Florida's state tree. At the bottom, you'll see the state's nickname, Gateway to Discovery. It's a beautifully detailed coin, and it tells a story of the past, present, and future all in one image. Now here's where it gets exciting, because as beautiful as this coin is, what really makes it special for collectors are the errors and rare variants. You see, during the minting process, things don't always go according to plan. And when something unusual happens, when a coin is struck off-center, or the die shifts, or the wrong planchet is used, it creates an error coin. And error coins, especially from the State Quarter series, are like gold to collectors. Let me walk you through some of the most valuable types of minting errors found in Florida quarters. First, we have double die errors. This occurs when the die that strikes the coin has a duplication in its design, leading to parts of the coin, like letters or images, appearing doubled. It might sound subtle, but sharp-eyed collectors can spot the difference. A Florida quarter with a noticeable double die error, especially on the word Florida or the date, can command a serious premium. Then there's the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned during minting, and the image ends up shifted or incomplete. A dramatic off-center strike that still shows the date and major design elements is extremely rare, and extremely valuable. Another major variety is the clipped planchet. This occurs when the coin blank was improperly cut, leaving a crescent-shaped clip missing from the coin's edge. These are quite rare, and when they occur on a collectible series like the state quarters, they instantly become desirable. And then there are wrong planchet errors, coins that were accidentally struck on blanks meant for foreign currency or other denominations. Imagine finding a Florida quarter that weighs too little or sounds different when dropped. That's a sign it might be a wrong planchet error. Now here's the twist. Not only do these error coins exist, but some of them have been found in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded at the highest levels by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Collectors know that condition is everything. A coin with a unique error is special, but a flawless coin with that same error? That's the holy grail. So if you have a Florida quarter with one of these rare minting errors, and it has never been circulated, if it looks shiny, new, and has been well preserved, your coin might be worth far more than 25 cents. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. One rare example of the 2004 Florida state quarter, featuring a dramatic mint error and graded in top uncirculated condition, sold at auction for a staggering amount of money. That coin, a small piece of metal you might overlook every single day, sold for $81,000. Yes, you heard that right. $81,000, all for a state quarter from 2004, because of a rare error and perfect preservation. Imagine finding something like that in your collection. Or in a jar of spare change. Or in the register at your workplace. It sounds unbelievable, but stories like these keep collectors hunting, searching, and dreaming. Because the next big find could be your find. So what can you do right now? Start by examining your coins. Take out every Florida quarter you can find. Use a magnifying glass. Check the date. Look for any strange lines, doubling, shifted designs, missing parts of the image, or signs that the coin wasn't struck quite right. If anything looks off, especially if the coin still has its shine and hasn't been worn down, it might be worth submitting to a professional grading service. For a small fee, they can determine the coin's grade and confirm if the error is legitimate. That could be the difference between a fun find and a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. So never ignore your change. Because sometimes, it holds a treasure you didn't know you had. Top 3. We're diving into the world of one of the last state quarters ever released as part of the United States Mint's iconic 50 state quarters program. And believe me when I say, this one is full of surprises. We're talking about the Arkansas state quarter from 2008. Now, you might think of this coin as just another addition to the state quarter series, maybe even a common one. But what if I told you that this coin, under the right conditions, could be worth a jaw-dropping fortune? Yes, this seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece could be worth thousands, and not just any thousands. One rare example of this coin has reportedly sold for an astonishing $79,000. So sit tight, coin lovers, because we're about to uncover everything you need to know about the 2008 Arkansas quarter, its design, the rare errors that make it valuable, and how you might have one hiding in your collection. Let's start with the background. The year 2008 was the final year in the 50 state quarters program, which began in 1999 and ran through 2008. Over the course of a decade, the U.S. Mint honored each state with its own uniquely designed quarter, celebrating history, culture, and identity. Arkansas was actually the 25th state honored in the program. Its quarter was released earlier in 2003, but its minting continued into 2008 due to widespread circulation. And here's where it gets interesting. While millions were struck, only a tiny fraction contained the rare and unusual features that make them extremely desirable to collectors today. The Arkansas state quarter is one of the most visually symbolic coins in the entire series. The reverse side of the coin showcases a stunning scene, a majestic mallard duck in flight over a serene lake, with a backdrop of tall pine trees and a diamond in the foreground. Why a diamond? Arkansas is home to Crater of Diamonds State Park, the only diamond-producing site in the world where the public can search and keep what they find. This small detail alone gives the coin a touch of treasure hunting magic. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin valuable. Because not every Arkansas quarter is worth more than face value. What turns this quarter from common to collectible, and from collectible to incredibly rare, is one word: errors. That's right. The real money lies in the flaws. Minting errors are like little accidents that happen when the coin is being made. And while most coins are mass-produced with perfect precision, sometimes things go wrong, really wrong. And for collectors, those rare mistakes can make a coin worth a fortune. One of the most sought-after errors in the Arkansas quarter is the double die. This happens when the die used to strike the coin hits the planchet twice, slightly out of alignment. The result? You'll see doubling in the design elements, especially in the word Arkansas, the date, or the details in the duck and diamond. It might look like a shadow or a ghost image, and for collectors, that ghost is a golden ticket. Another valuable mistake is the off-center strike. If a coin is struck when it's not perfectly aligned in the press, the design ends up shifted or incomplete. An Arkansas quarter with an off-center strike that still shows the full date and major elements. That's a big deal, and a big price. Then there's the die break or cut error, when a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a raised, blob-like feature on the coin. These are unusual, eye-catching, and completely unique. No two are ever exactly the same, which makes them even more desirable. That we also have clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a miscut blank, and wrong planchet errors, where an Arkansas quarter was mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another coin, like a dime or foreign currency. These are ultra-rare and often fetch thousands on their own, but rarity alone isn't enough. The second major factor that skyrockets a coin's value is condition. Collectors and grading agencies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to rate a coin's condition. Anything graded at MS 65 or above, that's mint state, is considered investment worthy. Coins that have never been circulated, show zero wear, and retain full luster can command serious premiums. Now, imagine combining both, a rare minting error and a near-perfect mint state grade. That's where we start getting into jaw-dropping territory. In one incredible case, a 2008 Arkansas quarter featuring a dramatic mint error and certified in pristine condition by a top grading service sold at auction for an unbelievable amount. This wasn't just a lucky find, it was a collector's dream come true. So how much was it worth? Before I tell you, take a second to imagine the kind of things you could buy with that money. A brand new luxury car. A once-in-a-lifetime vacation. A down payment on your dream home, because that Arkansas quarter, yes, that tiny coin from 2008, sold for a staggering $79,000. That's right. A 25-cent piece, turned into $79,000, incredible, right? Now the big question, could you have one? Well, that's the best part. These coins weren't kept in vaults or special mint sets. They were released into everyday circulation. They were handed out as change, used in vending machines, tossed in tip jars, or forgotten in old jars in people's homes. So if you have an Arkansas quarter lying around, take a good, close look. Grab a magnifying glass. Check for signs of doubling, shifting, missing elements, or weird raised marks. Flip it under light and check its edges. Weigh it if possible. Some wrong planchet errors show different weights, and if you find something suspicious, in a good way, consider sending it to a grading service. It's a small investment that could lead to a major payoff, because let's face it, finding a rare and valuable coin like this is part of what makes coin collecting so thrilling. You're not just holding money, you're holding history, mystery, and maybe even a fortune. So that's our deep dive into the incredible 2008 Arkansas State Quarter. From diamonds and ducks to dramatic errors and rare variants, this coin has it all. And remember, one flawless Arkansas quarter with a rare minting error was sold for a life-changing $79,000. Top 4. We're heading to the East Coast, more specifically, to one of the most iconic and beloved places in the world, New York. But we're not talking about skyscrapers or the Statue of Liberty this time. We're talking about a small, shiny piece of history that you might just have in your coin jar right now. That's right, we're talking about the 2001 New York State Quarter. Now at first glance, this coin might seem pretty ordinary. After all, it was part of the massive 50 state quarters program that ran from 1999 to 2008. Millions of New York quarters were minted and circulated all over the country. So how could a coin like that be worth anything more than 25 cents? Well, buckle up. Because what if I told you that a rare version of this very coin sold for a truly unbelievable price? A coin so special that collectors are still hunting for it to this day. One that, under just the right circumstances, could be worth $75,000. Let's get into the story behind this stunning coin and what makes it so incredibly valuable. First, a little history. The 50-state quarters program was launched by the U.S. Mint to celebrate each state's unique contributions, culture, and identity. Every few months, a new coin was released with a fresh design on the reverse side, honoring one of the 50 states in the order they joined the Union. New York, being the 11th state to ratify the Constitution, had its quarter released in January of 2001, and it was one of the most anticipated designs in the series. So what does the 2001 New York quarter look like? On the front, like all state quarters, you'll find the familiar profile of George Washington. But flip it over, and that's where the magic begins. The reverse design showcases a powerful symbol of freedom and hope, the Statue of Liberty, with her torch held high. Behind her is an outline of the state of New York, and crossing through the design are lines symbolizing the gateway to freedom, representing both the Erie Canal and the immigration routes that brought millions of people through Ellis Island and into the American dream. Just above, the words, "Gateway to Freedom," are inscribed, paying tribute to New York's critical role in American history, especially as the first site of land for countless immigrants arriving by sea. It's a coin loaded with symbolism, emotion, and national pride, but we're not just here for beauty. We're here for value. And this coin? It has more hidden value than you might expect, if you know what to look for. Let's talk rarity, and more importantly, errors. Most of the 2001 New York quarters you'll come across are perfectly normal. But some, due to small mistakes during the minting process, are incredibly rare and worth far more than their face value. In the world of coin collecting, these minting mistakes are pure gold, because they transform a common coin into a unique and valuable treasure point. One of the most desirable errors for the New York quarter is the double die. That a double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing the design elements to appear doubled. If you take a close look at the coin under magnification and see that the letters, especially New York or Gateway to Freedom, appear doubled or shadowed, that's a sign you might have a double die quarter. And those are highly collectible. Another major error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned during minting, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted or partially missing. Some off-center New York quarters, especially those where the date and state name are still visible, can fetch hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Then there are planchet errors, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal. Imagine finding a quarter that feels lighter, looks a little off in color, or just doesn't seem right. These are the kinds of quirks that grab collectors' attention and send values soaring, especially when authenticated. Now let's get into something a bit more dramatic: missing clad layers. Modern quarters are made of copper and nickel layers. But once in a while, a coin is struck with one of those layers completely missing. The result is a strange-looking coin that might appear redder or duller than usual, because the outer layer of nickel never made it onto the coin. If you find a New York quarter that looks off in color, take a closer look. It could be a missing clad layer error, and worth far more than you'd expect. Another fascinating variant is the die break, also known as a cut. This happens when part of the die cracks or breaks during minting, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin where it shouldn't be. These are rare and each one is unique. Some New York quarters have been found with die breaks on the Statue of Liberty's torch or along the edge of the coin, making them both eye-catching and valuable. But here's where things get really interesting. It's not just about the error. It's also about the grade. That if a coin has one of these rare errors and is in pristine, uncirculated condition, free of scratches, discoloration, or signs of wear, it becomes something even more special. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a 70-point scale. Coins graded MS 67 or higher are considered exceptionally rare and valuable. So now, imagine this: a 2001 New York quarter, with a significant minting error, preserved in mint condition, graded at the highest levels by a trusted service. That's what happened in one extraordinary case. At a major auction event, one of these elusive New York quarters, featuring a dramatic mint error and flawless preservation, sent shockwaves through the collecting community. It's sold not for a few $100s, not for a few thousand, but for an astounding $75,000. That's right. A 25-cent piece from 2001, smaller than a cookie, lighter than your car keys, sold for $75,000. Now take a moment and let that sink in. Think about how many times you've let coins pile up on your desk, in your car's cup holder, or in an old change jar in your kitchen. One of those coins, one that you might think is just another quarter, could be worth a life-changing amount of money. So here's what you need to do: start checking your change. Go through your coin rolls. Search through that jar you haven't touched in years. Take a magnifying glass. Look for doubling, off-center designs, strange colors, or any feature that seems unusual. And if you find something promising, don't hesitate to send it in for grading, because hidden treasures are real. And sometimes, they're right under our noses. Top 5. We're talking about the West Virginia State Quarter, released in 2005. And trust me, this isn't just another coin from the State Quarter series. This is a coin with hidden value, one that has shocked collectors, surprised experts, and left people staring at their change a little longer, because under the right conditions, this seemingly ordinary quarter has been valued, and sold, for an eye-watering $73,000, yes, you heard that right. $73,000, for a single 25-cent coin. So what makes this West Virginia quarter so special? Stick around, because we're about to explore the design, the errors, the rarity, and everything you need to know to spot a potential treasure in your own coin jar. Let's start with some background. The 50 State Quarters program was launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999 and ran through 2008. It was one of the most ambitious and successful coin programs in American history, releasing 5 new designs each year, one for every U.S. state. These quarters weren't just coins, they were mini time capsules, telling stories of heritage, culture, and identity. By the time West Virginia's turn came in 2005, collectors were already eagerly awaiting each new release. And West Virginia did not disappoint. The reverse side of the West Virginia quarter features one of the most iconic and breathtaking scenes in the entire series, the New River Gorge Bridge. Spanning the gorge in a graceful steel arch, the bridge is not only a feat of engineering, but a powerful symbol of connection, progress, and natural beauty. Surrounding the bridge are the rolling hills and dense forests that define the mountain state. The design captures both the strength of human achievement and the majesty of untouched nature, a perfect tribute to West Virginia's spirit. But, as beautiful as this coin is, the real excitement comes from what you can't see at first glance: rare errors and variants that make this coin astronomically more valuable than its face value. Let's talk about minting errors. These are the little accidents that happen during the coin-making process. They're not intentional, and they're definitely not supposed to happen, but when they do, they create something rare, unique, and highly desirable in the collector world. The first error to look for is the double die. This happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly between impressions, causing parts of the design, like the lettering or elements of the image, to appear doubled. On the West Virginia quarter, if you look closely at the words West Virginia, the date, or even parts of the bridge structure and trees, and you see a faint doubling, that could be a very valuable clue. Next up is the off-center strike. If the blank coin wasn't perfectly aligned when it was struck, the image can end up shifted to one side. Some of these off-center quarters can look dramatically off, missing entire parts of the design. But if you can still see the year and the state name, even with the off-center error, you've got a coin that's already worth far more than 25 cents. Another major rarity is the wrong planchet error. This happens when a quarter design is accidentally struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination or even a foreign coin. These errors are extremely rare. The coin might look smaller, thinner, or discolored. But if authenticated, it could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands, on its own. There's also the clad layer missing error. Modern quarters are made of a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. Sometimes, one of these layers fails to bond correctly, and the result is a coin that looks like it's made of copper or has a reddish tone. These are visually striking and immediately catch a collector's eye. Let's not forget the die cracks and cuts. These errors occur when the minting die begins to crack or break, leaving raised lines or blobs on the finished coin. On the West Virginia quarter, die cracks along the bridge or between the letters are known to exist. Every one of these is different, making each coin with such an error a unique collectible, but here's the thing, not every coin with an error is worth a fortune. The condition of the coin matters just as much. Professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC use a scale from 1 to 70 to grade coins. A coin in mint state, especially in the range of MS65 to MS70, means it has no signs of wear, full original luster, and possibly even perfect strikes. Now imagine this, a 2005 West Virginia quarter with a rare minting error, in near-perfect condition, graded MS68 or higher. That's the kind of coin that makes headlines in the numismatic world. That's the kind of coin that turns heads at auctions, and yes, that's exactly what happened. In one remarkable case, a collector's West Virginia state quarter, featuring a rare minting error and graded in exceptional condition, sold at a national coin auction for a truly jaw-dropping sum. How much, you ask? That tiny 25-cent coin sold for $73,000. Let that sink in. A coin that most people would spend without a second thought. A coin you might have used to pay for parking or drop into a vending machine, ended up being worth $73,000. So now the question becomes, could you have one of these rare West Virginia quarters? It's absolutely possible. Start by looking through your spare change. Check the date, 2005. Flip the coin and examine the reverse design carefully. Use a magnifying glass or phone camera with a zoom. Look for doubling, unusual coloring, off-center designs, or anything that doesn't quite match other quarters. If something seems off, in a good way, your next step is to send it to a grading service. A few dollars spent to get a professional evaluation could be the smartest investment you ever make, because the truth is, rare coins aren't just found in museums or locked away in secret vaults. They're out there in circulation, right now, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. So whether you're a lifelong coin collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, the 2005 West Virginia quarter is one to pay attention to. Its story is one of beauty, rarity, and the incredible value that sometimes hides in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that are worth far more than you ever imagined, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next treasure. And remember, one very special 2005 West Virginia quarter sold for an astonishing $73,000. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.